It's been a morning. It's been a long night. Didn't really sleep that well. I have a lot on my mind, and it has a lot to do with the things that are going on right now in our nation, in the world. I've really been able to trust and find these places of trust where I'm feeling anxious, turning it over, finding the Lord, and having him centering me, because he does. He just comes in and he just settles my heart, and he centers me with his love and with wisdom. Brings me these rich nuggets of wisdom that it's just for me. It's for everyone, but what I mean, he brings me things that are so obviously what I need to center my own soul. It's very personal. Things that only he would know, that that would bring me a calm and bring me the ability to trust him. Because I work on it. I work on trusting. I work on putting my trust in the Lord, even when, especially when things seem out of control or out of whack, or I'm frustrated, or things aren't exactly lining up the way I want them to, or there's an issue or a little struggle with personal issues or personalities. When those things are happening and when that's challenging, that's when I need to go the most, and seek, reach down deep, I guess is what I'm trying to think of. Reach down deep to remember and to refocus and to get perspective that if I put my trust in the Lord, and that God is the one that I'm looking to, he knows the end. He knows the beginning. He knows the end. He knows what's going on. And he's loving when I come to him and say, but God, you know all things. You know the answer. You know the direction I should take. You know the steps I should take. You know how to settle me. Please just settle me in the midst of the storm. That brings him so much joy. It's like he just pours his joy into me. When I do that, something triggers and snaps into place inside. The anxiety has no authority. The fear has no place when I do that. And he fills me with his love. It's just uncanny. It's very amazing and beautiful, and that's what proves him to me, is just he changes the inside of me every time I allow him to. So when it comes to these cultural struggles, there's so much fear and anxiety, and so many opinions, and a lot of lies and false information. You never even know what's true, what's not true. Everybody has facts, but are they facts? It's just a really interesting time. And I find, to get sucked in to facts you hear, whether they're true or not, that you want to believe. It's very easy just to of course, Terry was even saying we were having a conversation last night, and saying, well, yeah, when you hear something and it just resonates with you, that when it's right. I'm like, well, it's just funny, because the thing that will resonate with me and I'll latch on to, I just really believe this is true. I just believe these are the facts. Somebody else can have the exact opposing things and different facts. Who knows which are real? And it resonates with them because that's what they believe. It's really not about what resonates with you. Although we're very comforted when we hear something that resonates with what we believe. It's just that the beliefs are already in place. And so I just keep thinking about this thing that I read about empathy and how social media, how, the pandemic and the shutdown, the lockdown, and the isolation has affected how people communicate. And it gets very ugly. It gets very ugly in social media because you've now removed the real person. Now it's just words that people are reading, and they're forgetting the person they're answering, or maybe they don't even know the person they're answering, but it becomes very easy to be mean. It becomes very easy to have hate and just be so judgmental. I mean, we give ourselves so much more room to be wrong and be stupid and say stupid things. Not even about forgiving ourselves. We just allow ourselves grace way more than we do allow for others, because we have empathy for ourselves. Oh, I know what I've been through, and I know why I feel this way, and I know why I acted that way, and there's a reason why I can't forgive that person, they did this to me, or there's a reason I feel these feelings, and why that came out. Maybe it wasn't so great, but there's the reason why it happened, or the reason why I said it. If you understood why, you'd believe me, or you'd get it too. But we don't do that for the other person. We don't think about what their experience may have been, what they have been through, or how they came to the place to believe what they believe, and what their background is, and what they grew up with as a family, in their own family culture. Like, we don't do that with people unless we're really in each other's lives. That's when, when you have someone you're close to, you protect them. You have empathy. You'll go to their defense because you understand something deeper than someone else does. Especially if you are in loving community that supports one another. I just think that it's really important that we spend more time listening to other people, and listening to their stories, and listening to the heart behind what they're saying, even if we don't agree with what they're believing or saying. I feel like there's it's really good for us to have diversity and to listen to one another. And the whole thing about racism, I feel like it could be conquered so much more readily by truly loving one another and having this forgiveness in our hearts towards one another. There's been lots of wrongs done, and there's been lots of things that, if we could really listen to the stories, the empathy, the empathy can turn into compassion, and there can be action behind those feelings of, gosh, I just did never understand that before, and now I get it. And that's been my journey. That's been my journey with the racism issues that have been going on now, but this whole, reposts, it's tiresome for one. I mean, there's a lot of information, but information only gets you so far. I mean, there's information to be discovered, there's knowledge to be had. But when you seek to understand people, and you seek to listen, and you seek to grapple with how their story makes more sense to me, in the context of my own story, my own narrative, you know, that's where the real change happens. And I've had a lot of those moments over the past couple months. It's very personal, so it's hard to share. If I'm going to share this publicly, I don't even know. But, you know, I even had a friend pass away just a couple days ago whose kids were my kids' classes at school. And I really, really enjoyed her. She was just such a feisty, fun, endearing person. And I know she had some health issues, but she was like strong. She did her best to take care of herself and her kids, raised her kids. But there was a couple of scenarios that happened along the way that I wished I'd responded differently and done things differently. And I thought I was protecting or watching out for her family and her kids, but I think it kind of was not, it didn't come across that way, and it didn't end up where we stayed in a friendship, or she kind of just pulled away, I think maybe out of embarrassment or out of offense. And we never really had a discussion, so I don't know. And then she moved away to another community, and I never saw her one single time since then. And that's like probably, I don't know, 8 years ago. So now she passed away, and it just brought up all those memories I hadn't thought of. And I remembered that situation, and there's times that I have kind of felt sorry and grieved of how that all went down, and what my behavior and my actions and how I could have done things differently. But that's where I was at the time, like in my mind, in my mentality, in my life, in my immaturity. I would do things differently now with the experience that I've come to, but I had a lot of anxiety in that time, and I've learned how to work through all that. Anxiety makes us do really stupid things. It really messes up what could be a straighter, easier path. It makes a lot of complications. So I had to really deal with anxiety, and that was, you know, my journey. And so, yeah, you know, like, I forgive myself. I want to be forgiven by the people I've hurt along my journey. A lot of people never hold things against other people after years go by. It's like, that's just life, you know. Some people like that, and other people hold the bone of contention forever, and that just really is shit. It doesn't hurt me if someone's to do that to me. It hurts themselves, but it hurts me if I hold on to it. It hurts me if I hold on to unforgiveness. So even if it's towards myself, you know, and there's a lot of times that things come up, and I'm like, you know what, I have to acknowledge that, and I have to forgive myself. I don't know that I can make it right with another person when all the years have passed by, or if it's even worth bringing it up to someone. Sometimes it's not, but it's a process to it, and it does give me more empathy, and it gives me more of a desire to listen to people and listen deeper, try to understand them. And I think that's really what love is. We're seeking to understand others. We're tolerating each other in their weaknesses. You know, we're being considerate. We're being kind. We forgive because we have been so graciously forgiven by the Lord already. Even if you don't know that, you have been graciously forgiven. And it really doesn't matter what the extent of our wrongdoings. Forgiveness is forgiveness. It's not penance. Penance. Is that the right word? I'm not Catholic, so I'm not really talking about, you know, trying to make restitution so that I can be forgiven. I think that we can do that for one another out of the kindness. But when forgiveness is forgiveness, whether someone deserves it or not. So I'm reading a really good book, and it's helping me understand that even a little more along the lines of the racism issues. And but it just applies. It applies in every area. It applies because we're all human. We're human. There may be races in the context of humanness, but we're all human, and we all have the image of God, and we can all honor one another, and we can honor ourselves and honor each other, and give honor where honor, just give honor to every human. So, just thinking, thoughts, Jesus talks.